Hi, this is Diana.
Hi, Diana. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. So the last four digits of my phone are 2726.
Okay, I got you.
Thank you.
It's 54.
When I say it, how's that? That'll work? Thanks.
Testing, testing. Yes.
Testing. Called order Kent County Levy Court Committee meeting, Kent County Administrative Complex, 555 Bay Road, Dover, Tuesday, October 20, 2020. Levy Court Chamber Room 203 at 7 p.m. sharp. Mr. Pedamage.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we begin the committee meeting, just a word about the process here for both those in the audience and those who may be joining over the conference line. We are broadcasting the meeting over a conference line. We're also showing the exhibits that we have on the screen via WebEx. And any folks who may be joining this meeting through the conference line may participate at the appropriate times for public comment. And we ask that you, at that appropriate time, we'll ask you to *1 your phone, and that will enable us to have you enter the meeting room via your voice and offer your comments. And we'll remind folks throughout the meeting at the appropriate time how and when to do that. This is an official proceeding of the Levy Court. It is being recorded, and we ask that for the benefit of folks who may be joining us on the conference line, that we proceed our comments by stating our name for the record, and so folks can know who's speaking. Mr. President, at this time, I'll turn the floor back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pedamage. Let the records show that we have 6 commissioners present, along with the county administrator and the county attorney. That being said, Administration Committee, Mr. Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Barkowski, you're up, please.
Thank you. Before I get started tonight, I wanted to introduce the newest member of the Kent Economic Partnership, Shannon Heel. She comes to us. She is a business developer with the Kent Economic Partnership, and we're really, really excited to have her as part of the team. She's been working about a month, and absolutely has been amazing what we've been able to accomplish in this last month. So, Shannon, meet the commissioners.
Hi, everyone. Like Linda said, I'm Shannon Heel. I joined the Kent Economic Partnership about a month ago. I'm really excited to be here and learn everything from Linda. A little bit about me: I have always had a business development background and sales. So I previously worked for Breakthrough Beverage and ATI Physical Therapy. So I'm excited to bring all of that experience here.
Tell them where you live.
Oh, and I do live in Smyrna.
Good.
So she's from Kent County. Any questions for Shannon? We're lucky to find a Kent County girl that had that experience, that wanted to work with the partnership. So we're excited. I think I go back one slide. Can I go back one? That's the end. Hold on. Okay. I thought it had KEP at the beginning. No? Okay. No problem. We're missing a slide. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be able to update the commissioners tonight on some of the things that we've been doing. I think the last time I was here, we hadn't really sealed a lot of deals yet, and we were working towards that. So tonight, I think, is a little bit of a celebration for all of us, because I think we've all worked together. The commissioners, the economic partnership, the municipalities have all worked together to make these things happen. I'm going. I think I'm at the back end of this thing, right? Can you get me to the front? There you go. I thought it had KEP in the front. Okay, anyway, that's tonight's of the KEP update to Levy Court. Thank you. Now, let's see if I can get it going the right way. There you go. So I want to first talk about our wins, because I think all of us should be proud that Central Delaware has some wins to actually talk about. Independent Metal Straps, this is the old Standard Distributing facility. They have 12 to 15 new manufacturing jobs, about $5 million worth of investment. They make a single strap for government. It's a metal strap, and it's basically a machine shop in there. So, and what we're hoping to do at a certain point is to invite some of the Levy Court commissioners, and we do a manufacturing tour through Kent County, so you can see some of these places, and we'll do a couple different tours so we're not all together at the same time. And then everybody's aware of this MVP Shoreline. This took a lot of work on the Levy Court part. Brooks Bantam making phone calls, the Levy Court commissioners approving tax abatements and strategic funds, but there's 80 manufacturing jobs, 17.2 million worth of investment, and the reuse of a facility that was vacant. So we're pretty excited about them. They're gearing up. Their equipment came in finally from Germany, and they're setting up their lines, and they did agree for us to come out and do a tour in January if anybody would like to see that facility. It's pretty high tech what they're doing with the vinyl extrusion. In that same building, USA Fulfillment, they're a fulfillment company that was located in Chestertown. They had a small warehouse in Dover. They're the tenant that ended up in the PPG building, just because it was a perfect storm. Well, I happened to be in a meeting that they were in, and I said, do you want to expand? And they said, yeah, we're looking at, we might get a contract with Johnson & Johnson for a pharmaceutical fulfillment. They landed the contract and they needed the space. So they're going to expand up to 100 jobs in there. And it's amazing. They took half the building and it's all racks to the ceiling for their fulfillment operation. So when we go visit, I think you'll be impressed with that operation. And then NKS, consolidation of 2 warehouse distribution centers. That's right south of Smyrna. Over 150 jobs, 22 million worth of investment. We've helped them with their TIF, which is the Transportation Infrastructure Fund, financing their application, that process. We've helped them with some other areas, but that's exciting. That's 150 jobs landing in central Delaware. Avalon, this is the company that took over the Dover Post building. They're bringing in 2 manufacturing operations. One makes plastic trays for testing, and the other one makes helmet covers for the military. And they're hiring, right now I'm renovating that building. And then Project Cape, which is a corrugated box manufacturer, just passed Dover Planning Commission last night, unanimously. So within 2 months, they've been able to get their permitting done through the city of Dover, and that is a 457,000 square foot building, and 100 million in investment, 150 in jobs, and they're going to use the rail. So this is it's a big deal coming to Central Delaware. We're pretty excited about it. And also thanks to Levy Court, this Project Cape was the 4M that you gave tax abatement to, and you also gave strategic fund. And without those incentives on the 2 large companies, we wouldn't have been able to lure them. So we thank you. We have 13 other projects in the queue. I think I talk about what their types. Some are manufacturing, some are healthcare, some recycling, some distribution, and some other. And we're excited. Since COVID, we have not missed a beat. The inquiries are still coming in, and we're still working diligently to secure more companies for Central Delaware. Just wanted to give you a quick update about the Civil Air Terminal. The market analysis was completed the end of 2019. It said that the best and highest use for that facility would be for a fixed base operation, which is like a charter kind of operation. So that market analysis is finished. The environmental assessment is in the federal review and comment period right now. We're hoping that that'll be finished. Senator Carper has designated one of his staff members to see it through the federal process and to make sure it becomes to fruition. And we just had a briefing with the base commander, I want to say 2 weeks ago, to bring him up to speed with us. And the JUA, which actually gets signed with the Department of Defense, that's a joint use agreement, they're hoping will be signed first quarter 2021. But I've moved that date on the slide many times, so I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed on that one. But it's pretty good because we still have, we have a couple inquiries that have come in for this. If we could just get the JUA signed, we can pull the trigger and start really working on those leads. And also, we are involved in the master planning for Harrington. Harrington requested a USDA grant and a Kent County, a Dover-Kent MPO study to be done for their industrial area. This is where the CT film plant was. You'll see the industrial. There's 3 parcels plus a 4th parcel of land. And that lower portion of the picture is rail. Rail runs right along that. They have a really good section of railroad. So the Kent MPO is working on designing this for transportation, for freight distribution, large industrial park. You'll see this is just a draft layout of some large areas that would be there. Large buildings, and so hopefully I think it'll be done sometime this year, at least the draft planning. There's private landowners and they're all involved and they're all very, very supportive of this project with Harrington. And then Harrington's also supportive. They're gonna have to get some of their infrastructure in there that's needed to make it happen. So, but at least it's moving forward. It's sat dormant for 15 years without anybody doing anything with it, and it's a great opportunity, especially with that rail. There's a proposal to put a rail depot in there, not passenger, but for cargo and things like that. So it would be like a transfer depot in the lower portion of that industrial park, and the railroad's very excited about that because we say one of the number one products that's supplied to our area is building supplies. And they would love to have a place that could come in from Baltimore to there and then truck to the lower portion into Sussex. So then also, our county administrator and the planning office and everybody, KEP and Commissioner Buxton, have been involved in the master planning of Little Heaven. I think these are the older slides. I don't think I have the new ones in here, but master planning with Little Heaven and Frederica, and they're moving along nicely. DelDOT's been involved lately. I think these are the original ones. I don't think I have the updated ones in here, but the point is the master planning is moving along, and hopefully, as the county administrator said this morning, hopefully we can get something finished by the end of the year. We also are still working on the transportation study, the east-west freight route transportation study. They're doing they're studying 3 routes out of Kent County, and they're running all the numbers, and hopefully soon they'll be going out for public comment on that one. We hosted a really good town managers, brokers meetings. We had all the commercial real estate brokers, a lot of them from all over the state, not just Kent County. And we had all the large landowners and large building owners, industrial owners involved in a meeting. And the purpose was, how can we as municipalities, as the county, how can we assist the brokers in marketing their buildings, their land? And it was just a really good dialogue, and we came up with some really good action plans. that mostly center around our website, Choose Central Delaware, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So the Kent County Small Business through the relief grant, Lori corrected me today, it's actually 54 grants were awarded that Levy Court did for the COVID relief grant. That was the grant for the small businesses up to 500. So just this last week, we've been filming virtual site tours, and we had our social media film crew out at the former Playtex site in Dover. That's the one that's right along the rail and right next to Edgewell. And then we also filmed the Maxim site, which is the former Reichhold site. And then we did Harris Manufacturing in Smyrna. And we'll be doing more of these. They will go on the website, they'll go on social media. And once they're finished, I'd be happy to show them to you. It takes you all inside the building and gives a cool tour of the area, highways. You can see how far you are. So we thought for some of our industrial areas, we needed to step up the game. And so we started filming these virtual site tours.
Excuse me.
And
Linda,
then we actually did,
Linda,
sorry.
can you
Jody?
go back screen?
Sorry.
So what happens to those virtual site tour media when you're done?
It'll go on our YouTube channel, our website, wherever if you want to use it. We're not going to be proprietary about it because we want the word out. So
Take them when you go to shows and such?
Well, I'll talk about that a little bit because the shows are all virtual this year,
that's true.
and that's why nobody's traveling, and that's why we thought we needed to do some virtual things, to post on the web because that's how everybody's getting their information now, So,
Okay, thanks.
yeah, I mean, when we go to shows, it would go with us, but not going as of yet. Then the big thing was, and we've never had this, we actually have testimonials from Edgewell and from Kraft stating why manufacturing is great in Central Delaware and why it's such a good location to locate your manufacturing business. So we're really, really excited about those two testimonials that we got that we'll be using on the website and social media and everything too. So there's some good, they were just filmed last week, so we don't have the final cuts or anything yet. Also, because everything is virtual, early in 2021, we are bringing in a manufacturing site selector. That's someone that just specializes in manufacturing. And they are going to host coaching seminars with the municipalities, with our real estate brokers. They're going to tour the municipalities and all our industrial areas. So we're going to have this person for 3 days, intensive training for all of us and how we can position ourselves. This site selector does large manufacturing facilities across the world. So we're pretty excited to have her come in and visit with us in Central Delaware. We also, since everything's virtual and we're not going, in November and December, we have another site selector that specializes in food processing plants across the country and across the world. And he's hosting training seminars with our municipalities and also hosting a mock RFI. An RFI is a request for information. A company would send that out to municipality or organization like ours, and then we would have to send the proposal in with all the information. So he wants to position us so that we know exactly what to send in for the food and beverage processing sector. And then we'll get critiqued on those RFIs, and we will end up having some really good proposals that we can put together. And also this person that's what he specializes in. So we're hoping after this exercise, he can start bringing some of those food processing deals to us because he'll be aware of us too. So we're excited about that. That's coming up. So for the next 4 months, we're going to be busy working with site selectors in different areas. the website just keeps it just keeps hitting home runs over and over and over again. And this is one of the most searched areas on the website. It's called Find a Site, and you can search anything. You can put in any kind of information. I want an industrial building, 5,000 square feet, blah, 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 in this area or whatever. It aggregates that and spits out a whole list of sites or properties for you to see. And then also, across the top, it tells you about building sites, businesses, but it gives you all the demographics. So you can say, I want the demographics for Smyrna. And it'll give you all the demographics for Smyrna, with the average wages, how many workers are there, local layers. And they're just adding another layer to this. We'll get trained on it in the next couple weeks, where you can actually pull this information and it puts it into a proposal form. So this is Zoom Prospector that you just signed for the other day. So we're excited. This is, it's working, and we get calls from site selectors and inquiries off of this site on the website all the time. We also are doing Rockport 2.0, as I call it. It's going to be an in-depth analysis of our targeted industries, and it's also going to drill down further into Milford, Smyrna, and Dover, and give them their targeted industries. Because some of their targeted industries, Milford's may be different than Smyrna's. And so each municipality is going to get their own detailed report, and then the county's going to get a report. And the one thing they're putting into this report is the workforce data that we've needed with this report. Also excited that we formed the Kent County Broadband Committee, and your representative is Commissioner Sweeney, has done a fabulous job being on that committee. There's two issues with broadband within our county, and it's affordability and accessibility. They're the drills down right to that. These are the reps on the broadband committee, and we're very happy that we have Jason Berry and Sarah Kiefer also from Kent County Planning on this committee. And when they did the comprehensive plan in 2018, they identified broadband as being an issue and also being an opportunity for economic development within Kent County. So we're hoping that we've heard from almost all the major providers. We kind of have a good idea of the landscape out there. And we have, I think, Maryland, we're looking at what they are doing and have done, because they actually, in their governor's office, have a cabinet level position of the Office of Rural Broadband. And they've had that for 10 years. So that's how important it is to them. And so our next speaker, I think, is from Maryland. Then hopefully after that, we can bring recommendations back to Kent County Levy Court, and also maybe the state legislature, because Representative Spiegelman is on this committee also. So that's our goal, and we're working diligently to get there. And then I think that's the end of, that's kind of my update up till now. In your packet, there are 2 ordinance amendments that we have worked on, and I'm more than happy to go through the highlights if you want me to on the changes. However you want me to just keep rolling, Alan?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, so on the first one, which is LC 2011, that's a strategic fund. Basically, we cleaned up a lot of language that is, that was pretty old, basically. It was just pretty old. So we cleaned up a lot of that, because it just had when the fund was started and how much money was put in there, so we basically cleaned that up. We didn't do a whole lot to what the fund could be used for, and we did change the review process because it was going before a organization, the Central Delaware Economic Development Organization, which isn't in existence now. So we really made the review process, still, Levy Court has all the authority and power to do whatever they want with the strategic fund. Levy Court commissioners can propose things to strategic fund companies, and they can request allocations. The economic partnership can request allocations from the strategic fund, but that all has to go through the administrative committee and be approved by Levy Court. And then the other thing we did was, that was basically it, I think, Mike, on the strategic fund. It was just cleaning up the language, giving Levy Court pretty much the ultimate approval, and that economic partnership can make recommendations for that. On the second one, LC 2012, that was the tax abatement one, and we did do a couple of major changes, I would say, in this, because this is also very dated, and one of the things was changing the minimum investment that a company had to make from $500,000 to $1 million, and changing the amount of employees from 4 to 10. And since this hadn't been changed in a long time, we thought that that was a reasonable amount, and that the average salary needed to be at $40,000 a year to qualify for the tax abatement. We also added some industries and aligned them with the targeted industries in the Rockport study. And we gave also any industry or activity that Levy Court decides that they would like to consider and approve for the tax abatement, they have the ability to do that. And Levy Court can request the KEP to take a look at it and recommend, but it's not necessary. And I think that's all the changes, and I'm happy, unless Mike Pettitomage sees something I missed in there, happy to answer any questions.
Linda, by
Yes.
going through and changing a lot of the wordage in here, did that also add like a little bit of a fast track to get to us quicker? From when you from the old system to the new, what you're proposing now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that, what we've done recently has, I think, been pretty fast-tracked, and I think that using that in this works. Like going through the administrative committee and getting your approval in Levy Court, I'm fine.
Any questions?
And not necessarily questions. I clarified a couple things earlier. This is just a cleanup or a recommendation to improve, and so I enjoy that. It keeps Levy Court in a position of decision-making authority, so those are effective. So I'm good with the changes, short of anybody bringing something else up that I don't know about. I really wanted to go back to the original presentation, and thank you for coming here. And discussing a little bit and presenting to us and to anyone out there and whoever may or may not be listening, just to take a look, because it is quite impressive. My friend Commissioner Hall pointed out in a letter to the editor that I didn't take offense to. If I see something like that, it's a concern. I want to look at it. I want to see, is he pointing something out that has traction, that makes sense? Because if it's there, I need to consider looking at it. For example, the comprehensive plan collecting dust, or the master plan stalling, or economic development opportunities flatlining so that folks are leaving the county. And I would suggest that this is a pretty good example of, in fact, that not being the case. And I think it's a compliment to your work. When we look at some of the examples that you presented, I can assure you that's a dramatic improvement, change, however you want to call it, especially in a time of great difficulties. So I'm just talking a little bit, and I'll be done here in a second. And because the comp plan, of course, is a guide, certainly you utilize, but it doesn't restrict your hands or require you to work inside of it per se, even though you do. But you can still do your job effectively and bring jobs like you do. And the master plan did stall, but it was because of a state agency. And in fairness to the state agency, they were dealing with COVID. So it kind of tied our hands. It is what it is. So I do think that you correctly pointed out that we'll have that plan here relatively soon, hopefully real soon, to get us going. So no question, really. It was, you presented some pretty impressive comments, stats, whatever, and I didn't want to at least not make a comment about it in a positive way. So thank you. Kudos.
Anybody else? Yep. Well, and I'm just going to bring the one thing up we discussed yesterday, and this is mainly for major corporations with buco bucks that can come in, right? And as my concern was, I know the SBA, the Small Business Administration, can help smaller businesses, but you got the small to medium companies, to 250 to 500,000 plus, that don't qualify under this. That I'd like to see us tweak it for economic development to help those people. Not being done right now. Just want to get it on record, so I'm bringing it forth. Make sure we get businesses in that era to look at that can be offered some of these things.
And we do. I mean, if you look at our business retention and expansion program, we hit those types of businesses almost all the time. We're dealing with a company right now that wants to, expand. Their total expenditure is going to be $500,000. So they are being helped, and there are programs out there through the Division of Small Business since they've reorganized and split into the Prosperity Partnership and the Division of Small Business. They've done an excellent job with really taking care of small businesses within Delaware. So they have relief programs, they have SSBCI grants. There's a lot of opportunity for small businesses to get help at the state level. What I said to you is I don't think we need to duplicate that when there's already programs in place like the SBA and everything that are already helping those businesses. We will assist them. We will guide them into how to get to those programs. But I don't think the county needs to be in that business when the state's already doing a great job with it.
I thank you for that answer because, like I said, I want to get this on the record too because a lot of people don't know that we can do that also. But
right.
At the same time, we want Levy Court to make sure that
right.
We're doing the best we can to help promote and get economic development started and do what the business leaders need to have done in our county. So I just wanted to
right.
make sure that we had a complete understanding there.
Got it.
Thank you.
So these
Fantastic.
need to move to next week, right? Okay. The ordinances.
Yes. Okay. LC 2011. Gentlemen, any questions on that? Seeing none. LC 2012. Any questions on that? Okay. Can we have a motion for all, or excuse me, our hands go up for all three, please? Thank you. 7 up, 6 up.
So Commissioner Angel, what
Yes.
will happen is those two will be put on next week's agenda for introduction
Correct.
and then teed up for hearing in November.
Thank you, Ms. Permaz.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parkowski.
everybody.
Any public comments on these 3 items?
If we have any callers on the line who wish to comment, please press *1 on your phones and we can recognize you. We see no callers. I'm not sure if anyone in the audience has anything.
Thank you, Mr. President. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Angel. Community Services, Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe Ms. Crouch is ready to go. Welcome back, Kim. We've seen a lot of you this month.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight I'm here to talk to you about Windstream renewal. Windstream provides communication to the county's data, for the county's data, internet, local and long-distance phone calls. The county signed a 5-year agreement in 2015, and now this service is due to be renewed. In your packet, you receive quotes from Windstream, Verizon, Crown Castle. All quotes are for 36 months. 36 months gives us 3 years. That provides the vendor the ability to give us discounts and yet it's short enough that we can reevaluate newer technology and future cost savings in 3 years versus 5 years. These quotes show an increase in speed for 4 locations. The wastewater treatment plant, the rec center, the library all are increasing from 10 meg to 50 meg. This building, Kent County Complex, will increase from 50 meg to 100, and for the record, public safety will remain at 100. Windstream is the recommended vendor, and they offer the lowest cost, monthly cost of $5,495.71. The funding source for this Windstream renewal will continue to be the sewer fund and general fund operating budget. Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Crouch? Seeing none, move this forward to consent agenda next week. 6 hands. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any questions from the audience? Mr. Petitmange?
Again, if anyone online wishes to speak, press *1 and we'll bring you in. We're seeing none.
Thanks, sir. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. Under Public Works, Mr. Howe.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't see either one of our Public Works people here, so I guess I'll just handle this. It's
Ms. Gold is going to join us on the phone. So is she on the line, Mark? Ms. Gold is joining us remotely.
Okay. I'll take a nap.
Diana, if you're there and you want to speak on the first item, the floor is yours.
Diana?
I'm sorry, I forgot to take the mute off. This is Diana Gold, and good evening, Commissioners. So I'm hoping you all can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
So before you tonight is a purchase of a work truck. We are looking to purchase a truck in the amount of $32,699. We have that price offered to us again because we just bought a truck in April. The truck that we're looking to replace was damaged in an accident, and insurance funds were received of a little over $20,500. And the remaining funds would come from sales funds and unrestricted reserves, and it would allow us to keep all our inspectors moving on the road. I don't know if you all have any questions for me.
Very good. Any questions or comments? All right, so this is not an addition to the fleet, it's replacement, all right? And if everybody's in agreement, we'll put it on the consent agenda. Everybody in favor? 6 up. Any questions from the audience? Or on the telephone?
I believe Diana's the only caller we have right now, so we have no other callers on the line.
All right, I guess that settles it. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Public Safety Committee is next. Mr. Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, as you're coming forth, we knew we were getting old when we remember when we put these in place. This is 15 years old.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's time. Before I get started, I'd like to introduce Richard Morris, who is here from Motorola Solutions. He comes to us tonight from Salisbury. And one of our current capital projects in the Department of Public Safety and the DivCom division is to replace the aging simulcast fire and EMS paging system. And this is a sole, so we've identified the Motorola as a sole source because of their integration with their 800 megahertz radio system. And I'm going to let Kevin Sipple, the Assistant Director of Public Safety for DivCom, step up and speak to the finer points to this. And if they get too fine, we have Richard Morris, who will be able to also answer questions. So, Kevin?
Good evening, Commissioners. As Colin mentioned, we're in front of you tonight to replace our simulcast paging system provided by Motorola Solutions. Back in March of 2018, we received a letter from Motorola telling us that our system that we're currently using in Kent County, that the equipment is aging, simulcast system and the paging equipment. So over the last year and a half, we've been working with Motorola to come up with a proposal for replacement. This would be a sole source due to the integration of the Motorola 800 megahertz system provided by the state of Delaware. Currently, our system is 15 years old. Several components are at the end of life, and replacement components and services will not be able to be guaranteed or supported by Motorola. Originally, when we started negotiations with Motorola, the price of this project was a little over $1 million. Working with Motorola and State Communications, we were able to reduce the price down to $661,401. What we're doing is replacing the infrastructure, all of the simulcast paging equipment, but we are not replacing the transmission lines and the antennas at all 8 sites. What